everybody. How's it going? This is Cinco de Mayo. Yay! It's the 5th of May, and we are here. We are live, and this is the May 5th meeting of the Flipping America RIA. I'm glad you are here. Thank you for joining us. And somebody say in the comments that you can hear me. Hey, Chip, I see you in the green room. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can. No? Hello? Are we on? Is this working? Anybody there? Jake, can you check and see if we're on? If we're broadcasting? I need to know before we go any further. I'm waiting for somebody to say something. Yeah, we on? All right. Dead air. Okay. Thank you, Chip. Appreciate you saying something. Okay. You can hear me. Good. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Wind Rider. I love that name. All right. So we are apparently rolling, and I am a little less embarrassed than I was a couple minutes ago. Great. Now, where was I? Oh, it's the 5th of May. How are you feeling? I don't know what it is where you are, but it's been storming the last couple of days here. And, you know, rainy days sometimes give people the blues, and not necessarily me. I like the fact that my plants are getting watered and all that. And it was interesting. Yesterday was foreclosure auction day across the state of Georgia. And so I spent the better part of the day at a local courthouse. And what's great is I ran into a young lady there. We were just standing there talking, and then she just blurted out to me. She said, "You know, you look just like someone I follow online." It turns out that I look exactly like me. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so it was a fun day. We didn't get any properties, but that's okay. We got 3 this morning. In fact, during the little countdown timer, I set myself up a little challenge. Start the countdown timer and then see if I can complete the dot loop in the amount of time allotted. And the answer to that is yes, although I was a little worried for a second because there was something I had to click, something a little unusual about it. But yep, we went under contract on a property in Illinois from the time I clicked start to the time the countdown timer was over. So that's kind of fun. All right. Now, what I'm trying to do here is transition to the pledge. I'm not doing a great job with it, but here it goes. Some days you don't feel great. Some days you don't feel motivated. Guess what? That happens even to me. Some days you just don't feel like you're on top of your game. And some days you would like to just kind of go back to bed and curl up or whatever. Some days you're just not there, right? Who can identify with what I'm feeling? Raise your hand. Put a comment in the comments if you can identify with that. Nobody's on top of things every day. So I expect everyone's going to say, even if you don't comment, I expect everyone is in the same boat. All right. That's when this pledge applies. This is not really for when you are up. This is for when you are down. And when you are down, sometimes you have to push yourself. Sometimes you have to make yourself. If you're into working out, even if you're really into it, you're not going to feel like working out every day that you need to. And sometimes you're going to have to push yourself. If you're into academic study, if you're taking a course, you're not always going to feel like it. But if you live your whole life doing what you feel like doing, then ultimately you're going to lead the path of least resistance. And that is not the way to the successful, good life that you are seeking. And that's why you're here. So having said that, I want you to think about this. I want you to listen to the words of the pledge. We've said it many times before, but as we go through the pledge, I want you to say this to yourself. Listen and say it. Here we go.
When I look in the mirror, I see the reason, the credit for my successes, the blame for my failures. I cannot make it without my team, and I tell them often. But when they succeed, it's because I chose well and I led well. When they fail, it's because I did not choose or lead well. I am the reason. I may have setbacks, but I cannot fail if I don't ever give up. You got circumstances. I got circumstances. We all got circumstances, but you won't find me under mine. My situation will not dictate my emotion. My circumstances will not control my results. External forces will not take away my power to choose. I cannot change the world, but I can change me and the way I relate to it. So I charge on. I am the reason. I have a massive vision, which creates massive pressure, leading to massive action, which is the only chance I have to achieve massive results. The world doesn't owe me success. God doesn't owe me success. No one is going to work for my success. Therefore, no one will work harder for their success than I will for mine. I will give my all and then a bit more. So tomorrow, my all will be more.
Okay, that's something to think about. Give your all, then a bit more. So tomorrow, your all will be more. Time for the announcements. And we have some here today. First of all, this is what we're talking about today. There we go. Brandon Barnes is joining us in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk about wholesaling. This is the number 2 question that we're getting into Flipping America over the last probably 60 to 90 days. It has been the number 1 question for the better part of my tenure here in this position, but it's slipped to number 2 just in the last 60 days. The number 2 question is, how can I get started in real estate investing? I don't have any money and I don't really have very good credit. Well, the answer to that is in part to learn how to wholesale properties. What is the new number one question that we're getting? How can I find a deal? And that is a tough thing. I'm getting that question from investors and also people who want to be home buyers. So how can I find a deal is number 1 right now. But the number 2 question is, how can I get started when I don't have any money? What you're really going to need to do is figure out a way to get in front of potential home sellers, work out a deal, and then assign the contract. That's what we're going to talk about. Brandon's going to be joining us in a few moments, and I'm counting on him to join us in a few moments. I know he had to rearrange some things with his schedule, so I'm figuring he's going to be here in a few minutes. Yeah, so we'll see him. All right. Tomorrow night, buying single-family rentals. I've got an expert panel assembled. Kim Kesterkey is the author of the W-2 Landlord course. She loves her job. She wants to keep her job, but she also wants to supplement her income and her long-term wealth position with rental properties. So she started buying rentals a few years ago, and she developed a system for managing tenants and managing the properties that allows her to still have a semblance of a real life, but maintain several rental properties with very good track records of payment and a nice, tight little system. And she wrote that into the course called the W-2 Landlord. She is going to join us tomorrow night as we talk about single-family rentals. And then my friend Glenn Glasper, he is the host of the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show. He is going to join us as well. Good friend. He lives here in the Atlanta area, but he is from Detroit. So he buys rental properties in Detroit, Michigan, and manages them from here. Both of these people are going to talk to us a little bit about single-family rentals. As we tomorrow night, we're kind of kicking off an emphasis for the rest of the month on passive income and real estate investing. Coming up next Wednesday, self-directed investing, and Sean McKay is going to be here from American IRA. We're going to talk about all of your options for self-directed investing and using your retirement funds to invest in real estate. And again, the emphasis is a little bit more on the passive income there. And then next Thursday night, we're going to talk about short-term rentals with Rich Monroe and Mike Hicks. Rich Monroe is an educator and an Airbnb superhost. Mike Hicks has built a couple of short-term rentals, tiny homes, out of shipping containers and put them on top of a mountain up near in North Georgia mountains, and with gorgeous views. And they're booked out. And, my wife and I actually tried to book a couple of days in these things, and they're booked through October, and this is May. So very successful with it. So Mike and Rich will be here next Thursday night talking about the short-term rentals. This is the Flipping America RIA, and there is your link to join. Now, someone just emailed me and said they had a little problem with something on the website trying to join this morning, but we're fixing it right now. So use that link to join. And the vision for the Flipping America RIA is it is a national group, but we have local chapters. And as of next week, we will be 31 local chapters, or 32. And check this out. Let's see if I have this in here. There you go. This is the number on the far left there, 10,455. That's today's number in our meetup groups. And it's interesting. I took over my first meetup group, a group. It was my favorite group, and the founder of the group. Actually, I didn't found the group. She had to step away, and meetup was about to shut it down. We had 229 members, so 229, and today it's 10,455. That's pretty cool, and I'm glad you're a part of it if you are. So let's use this opportunity to mingle. I know that you really can't communicate very much here on the platform, but please do in the comments. If you've got a deal to sell, please let us know, because I and other people like me are buying all around the country. If you pay attention to the what's in the background, I do a split screen thing when the show is coming on. There are license tags up on the wall from every state where we've bought at least one house. And we're adding 2 more states to that in the coming week or so as we add Texas and Kentucky. Believe it or not, I'm from Kentucky, grew up there, but I've never bought a house in Kentucky until just in the past week or so. So anyway, if you have a deal to sell, if you're a wholesaler and have something, post it. It's fine. There may be a buyer that's paying attention to this and we'll jump on it, and it may be one of us. All right? So say hello to everybody. Tell us where you're from, and we appreciate that. And that covers the announcements today. We're on to Brandon, but first, a word from our sponsor, and that is, let me make sure, Chip, I have assigned you. Yep, I've got Chip here from Bay Mountain Capital. Chip, how you doing, man?
Hey, Roger. Doing great.
What part of the world are you in today?
I'm in Atlanta, but I am staying with a beautiful German Shepherd this week, taking care of him. His name's Jagger.
Oh.
He's a cool dog. Anyway, so Bay Mountain Capital, we're a hard money lender. And I wanted to tell you, Roger, about a deal that we did. We closed on it yesterday.
Good.
So it's brand new, and it's similar to one we had talked about a few weeks ago. It's down in Jonesboro. This one's on Lake Spivey. The one we talked about a couple of weeks ago was on Lake Jotica, which they do connect, as you were saying, that day. All right, so this one, his purchase price was $575,000, so big bucks.
Yeah,
but
that's actually cheap on Lake Spivey.
Yeah, he's putting in $430,000, so just a little over $1 million total there. The ARV, the appraisal came back at $1.4 million. So his loan amount ended up being $935,000. So he had to bring about $70,000 to closing. Wasn't quite 100% loan, 93%, pretty close. And that's because he was limited by that $1.4 million. But it's going to be a beautiful house. I went down to see it Sunday, I believe it was, and it's in disrepair. It's hard for me to imagine how somebody can have a lake house and let it go down like it did. But hey, it's going to be built back up now. It's going to be beautiful.
All right.
I'll put my information in the chat.
All right. That's pretty cool that Bay Mountain's willing to do $1 million projects, but you're also willing to do $150,000 projects, right?
Yeah, minimum's 50.
Okay, there you go.
In the Atlanta area. And that's the loan amount, minimum loan amount of $50,000. So yeah, we'll go down that low.
So somebody right now is saying, yeah, that's great and everything, but where'd you come up with the 50 or 80 or 70,000 down? How do you do that?
Well, obviously he has played in this space before, so he has that kind of cash.
Yeah.
That would not be a project for a beginner.
Right. I would highly suggest that beginners not take on a $400,000 rehab. That's going to take a better part of a year to do. And
It's going to be a long one.
so your money's going to be tied up for a while. You're going to be making interest payments for a while. There's a
Yeah.
downside, but the upside is probably he's looking at making $250,000 to $300,000 when the dust
Probably.
settles, and that's net. So thumbs up on that deal.
Nice return on 70,000, huh?
Yeah, he might need to send that property to me so I can do a property pairings video with it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Right. And it's actually the same borrower that did the other one a couple of weeks ago. Oh. And you wanted me to put you in touch with him anyway, so that you can keep track of the progress on maybe both of these properties.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, let's do that, because when if we go down there and do some on-site videos, we'll do some from both properties since both be going.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Chip. Thanks. I appreciate it. Good to see you, man. Glad everything's going well. And Bay Mountain Capital, great products, great service, great people, and it's baymountaincapital.com, right? Bay MTN. Yep. Chip's gonna put that information in the comments.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well,
thanks, Roger.
All right. Hey guys, we're going to play it one or two more times, but here is our most recent property pairing video.
Our marriage wasn't really in a great place, and I bought this house really I wasn't to spite you or anything. It was kind of more one of those things. I just bought it just as an investment.
Well, you bought it, and it wasn't a decision that we made as a married couple.
Yeah, that's true.
Today we've got a very special property pairing for you. My friend Mark Dolfini sent in a property that he rehabbed recently, and we're already throwing up some pictures of it here, but he made a video about this, and it's titled A Broken Home. The home was broken, but also when he bought this house, his marriage was in trouble. And the video shows how during the process of the rehab, Mark and Jennifer put their marriage back together. It's a wonderful story, truly heartwarming. And I salute you, Mark and Jennifer, and congratulate you. And so I want to pair this house that you're seeing some before and after of right now. I want to pair this property with a couple of my favorites. All right, I'm going to reach into the humidor here. And you see we've got it stocked up. And I am ready right here with, this is one of my all-time favorites, and usually I have them out of the wrapper for you, but this is a Perdomo champagne. And I left it in the wrapper this time because I wanted you to see the unusual thing here. This is the 10th anniversary. It's a really terrific cigar. All right, so I got my nifty little V cutter out here for this Perdomo cigar, but I just had a thought. Before I cut the cigar, I think I need to talk to you about the whiskey. The reason is I need to let it start aerating. The whiskey is one of my favorites also. This is Lagavulin 16, made on the island of Islay off the coast of Scotland. And it's beautiful, it's smoky, made famous by Ron Swanson at Parks and Recreation. Honestly, that's the reason I tried it in the first place. But I've tried a lot of different scotches, certainly not all of them because there are thousands, but this one is my favorite. And it's smoked, and who wouldn't go for a little smoked whiskey and a little smoked meat, right? But here it is. Now with my scotch, I like a drop or two of water, so I'm going to add just a little bit of water to it and swirl it around and let it start releasing the oils and get a little air in there. And that gives me time to get this puppy cut. So here we go. I'll put the little V cut on there. And let's get it lit. I'll put a lid on that. Get it out of the frame this time around. All right. A Perdomo champagne and a wee dram of Lagavulin. What could be better? I tell you what, one of the few things that can be better than this is the story of a little house in Indiana that brought a marriage back together. Smooth, mellow. Here's the whiskey.
I'm not going to go through all the blather about tasting notes. I can just tell you this is one of the best cigars out there. It's one of the best selling cigars in the world for a reason. And this is one of the best selling scotches in the world for a reason. A perfect pairing for the broken home. If you have a property you would like for me to pair with the perfect cigar and whiskey, send it to propertypairings@flippingamerica.net. I will match it up with the perfect cigar and the whiskey. Doesn't matter if you've rehabbed it, if it's a wholesale house, it doesn't matter. Just send me the property, tell me the story, and I'll set you up. See you soon.
People ask me from time to time, how do you know that you're getting the perfect whiskey and cigar? And I tell them, hey, just trust me because I know everything, right? Hey, you're not Bruce Glenn. What's that doing on there? Let me get that out of there. That's Brandon Barnes. How you doing, Brandon Barnes?
I'm well. How are you?
Great to see you, man. All right. So you ready to talk about wholesaling?
Yes.
All right. I know you had to move a little bit on your schedule today, so I promise I'm not going to keep you too long. And we're glad that you're here. And so let's start from the very beginning. Let's assume that we've got a few people on the call who maybe don't know anything. They're brand new. I told in the run up to this, you weren't on yet, but the number 2 question we're getting at Flipping America right now is, I don't have money or credit, and I want to get involved in real estate investing, which, to a lot of people is a little unrealistic. But if you know how to wholesale, you can get a start. That's one of the things that you can do without much or any money and without credit. So define it, and then let's talk about how to get started.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for having me on, Roger.
Yeah,
Always a pleasure. The wholesaling, at its core is literally the art of finding off-market properties at a discount. And when I mean at a discount, I mean not retail priced. So when we are doing our kind of daily activities, we are reaching out to tons of homeowners that do not have their properties listed. That's how we're able to get the best price, because we're working with them directly. We're offering speed and convenience, ease of transaction, so that they do not have to go through the traditional listing process, open their home up, clean their home out. And that allows us to ask for a discount, for a price that an investor can then purchase that home, add some of their resources, whether that's their time or money or both, to renovate the property and then sell it on the open market. So finding off-market properties at a discount, there's many ways to do it. And when someone says doing this business or finding properties with little or no money, that screams to me finding homeowners that are willing to sell their property to you, either by word of mouth, referrals, door knocking, and meeting homeowners where they are, and asking if they would consider an all cash as is offer for their home.
All right. You kind of anticipated the next question. How do you find these homeowners? And you talked about door knocking. Do you just like start knocking on doors up and down the street? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, there are people that utilize door knocking as a main marketing channel, and that could work. But it will work in an area where homes are older, that could use some renovation. So if you went into an older neighborhood, that you saw some houses that had just recently been rehabbed or rebuilt, I would knock on all the doors of the homes that are still older, could use some updating. So that's one way. A way that's very popular these days is cold calling, just getting a list of homeowners and finding their phone number, sending direct mail, text messaging, or online outreach.
So I know what I say, and I've done my fair share of door knocking people, and you know what? I know it's not easy, and I know that you're going to get ignored. You're going to get door slammed in your face. You're going to get a lot of things, but I've done a lot of door knocking over the years, and sometimes it works out. So, what's the first thing you say? This might be the first actionable step. If somebody wants to pick a neighborhood and go knock on doors, what's the first thing you say when they come to the door?
First thing I would say is introduce myself. Hi there. My name is Brandon. Sorry if this is out of the blue, but I was actually looking to purchase a home in this area and just wanted to see if you would consider an offer for your property.
Okay.
It's simple as that. Get straight to
Okay.
the point.
I like it. I do very similar, except I'll usually back away and I'll put my hands up like this to let them know that, no harm is intended here. And I'll say, hey, I'm Roger, and I'm not selling you anything, I promise. I want to buy a house in this neighborhood, and I wonder, do you know anybody in the neighborhood here who has a house they would like to sell in the next 30 days?
There you go. Add in that time element is super critical because that
Yeah,
will weed out all of the people that will maybe consider it
the tire kickers.
versus the ones that actually
Yeah.
want to sell
Yeah,
now.
it's almost like a little bit of a pre-qualification, and it assumes that there's a little bit of motivation there for the people to sell. Anybody that says, "Yeah, I'd like to sell it someday," well, that's different than, "Oh man, I need to sell." Yeah, yeah, I know Bill down the street. He and his wife getting a divorce, and he wants out. So there you go.
For sure.
Yeah,
There's always a bill in any
yeah.
neighborhood.
So I'm you know I have actually asked people to introduce me to their neighbors in the past, and um, I can't recall anyone ever agreeing to do that. But I think a few people have said, "Oh, I'll give them a call and tell them you're coming." Um, but that's hard work. But guess what? If you don't have any money, this is a great place to start, right?
For
Um,
sure.
so then we're still in 101 right now, wholesaling 101. So they say, let's just say they happen to say, I need to sell my house. I want to sell my house. But I haven't been able to list it because it needs so much work or whatever. Um, what is in your mind right then, and what is the objective you're trying to get to?
Yeah, if somebody's letting me know that they need so much, there's so much work that needs to be done to their property, that's a perfect type of opportunity. Because, usually they're going to understand that to do the work, I need to have the purchase the home at a price that would still allow me to make those repairs and still make some money on the back end.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I want to get to your point, if you've already somewhat gotten a timeline out of them, do you want to sell in the next 30 to 90 days or so? They've already told you the condition. Um, the only other situation, the two things that I would want from there are motivation and price.
Right.
Those are the kind of the four pillars of pre-qualification: motivation, price, timeline, and condition. So they say they need some work. You've gotten a timeline. You might ask them, why would you consider selling it? Just to try to dig into that and make them realize that, to solve that problem, they should sell their property to me. But then the last thing that I would want to know is, if I were able to purchase this property, all cash, close quickly on the day of your choosing, what's the best price that you would consider if I took care of all the closing costs and there were no real estate commissions to pay? That's the question that I would probably be asking
Okay.
to get their best price.
Yeah, that's good. Now, if you're watching this now, if you're watching the live stream anyway, and you have a question, just put it in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. We should be able to. I've got one thing here where the comments come in, and we should be able to address them. So if you want to ask Brandon something, join in. I'm going to ask him a few things myself, but I'll ask him your questions too. All right. So now, Brandon, you and I have talked enough to know that. For me to know that you don't do a whole lot with creative deal structures or subject to and so forth like that. You're doing straight cash offers. Okay. Now I know what you're doing, but let's also Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you before we get into that part is what percentage of these properties actually work out when you have somebody who wants to sell and they give you a number? How often do you come away with the deal versus saying, "Oh, it's not going to work"?
That's a good question. For us, about 1 in every 25 people that we speak to. Let me change that. One about for us, if I make 100 phone calls or so, I'll connect to maybe 15 people, and I'd expect one of those people to say that they would consider selling, they're for sure that they want to sell. Um, then every 20 to 25 people that then say that they want to sell, I expect to be actually able to do a deal. So, percentage wise, you'd have to break that down a few different times. But if I'm just literally cold calling, I have just some random list of homeowners that maybe have some equity in their home, or they own multiple properties, so they're absentee owner. Every I'm going to actually be able to connect with 15 people out of every 100 attempts, and then one of those 15 will consider an offer, and then it'll take me about 20 to 25 of those folks that would consider an offer for a deal to actually work out.
So I'm doing the math in my head here. Basically, it's 2,000 to 2,500 dials to get one deal.
Yeah. That's about right. Because we even talked about that the other day when we talked about driving for dollars. It's about 1 every 2,000 properties that we can pin just driving the streets. And if I sent everybody a postcard, it would take me 1 in every 2,000 to find an actual deal. But in the same accord, I can find about 2,000 properties a week. So if one person doing that, I could do a deal a week, just by that. And the average deal size here in Atlanta, specifically for us, had been about $18,000 on a cash transaction. So it's still money.
Yeah, it is. And I want to tell everybody, Brandon and I did an extra interview segment that's available to Flipping America RIA members only. It's behind the members paywall at flippingamericaria.com. You can use the link I showed you a little while ago, bit.ly/FARRIA join. You could join for as little as $10 a month. We're starting to accumulate some content from our show guests there, mainly just to give you a reason to join. You could join for as little as $10 a month. Come on. Support us. And that's a help to us, and we appreciate you, Brandon, taking the time to do that the other day. Sure. But gives you a little bit more inside information, and we talked about driving for dollars on that. So we're going to avoid that subject now and move on to this other. Okay, so that's 1 out of 2,000. So what you guys should be hearing is, if you want to do this, this is not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the busy. You got to have some courage and willingness to talk to people, but also you can't be super busy. And if you say to yourself, this is just a little mindset word for everybody. If you say to yourself, I'm too busy, I have a job. Well, if you have a job, why don't you have any money? And we all know the answer to that, because you spend it all. Go back to the pledge that we play at the start of every one of these shows. When you look into the mirror, you're looking at the reason for your life the way it is. If you have a job and you don't have any money, you know whose fault it is? It's not your employer's fault. It's your fault. You can choose what you spend your money on, and you can live on less than what they pay you. And if you want to get indignant now and say, well, they should be paying me more, guess what? The world doesn't work that way. It doesn't work based on what you think ought to happen. If you want your employer to pay you more, be worth more. If you're worth more, they'll pay you more. But in the meantime, live on less. If you really want to be in this business and you have a job, then you need to start out by living on less than what you're making, a lot less. Okay? My firm belief is that you should pay no more than 10% of your annual income on your vehicle and pay cash. Payments are killer on cars, and especially if you go past 42 months, you're in trouble. You're just setting yourself up for a world of hurt. Now, this is not a financial advice show. I'm just trying to tell you how to get some cash so you can get into this business, okay? Now, what we're really thinking about here is people who don't have a W-2 or don't have a career that you want. They don't have a lot of money and they're trying to get started. Maybe COVID has knocked you for a loop and you're out and you've got plenty of time. If you got plenty of time, this is what you do. You contact Brandon Barnes because Brandon is going to tell you right now how you can come study with him. He teaches people how to do wholesaling. Tell us about it.
Yeah, for sure. So the properties that we do most of our deals with are properties that we never have seen and never have been to the property. I've really focused on an acquisition strategy, if you will, of speaking to homeowners and coming up with the offer price sight unseen. It's something that we worked really hard at by coming up with the best type of list to find motivated sellers with the best strategies for contacting them and the actual scripts themselves on what we say when we do get someone over the phone. We've really dialed in how to come up with an offer price for each property, wherever it is, across the country, just based off of the homes that have been sold around it. And you can tell what other homes have sold in as is condition or for retail. And we'll use those indicators for the price that we're going to offer to the homeowner. So this is my Send More Offers coaching program where I instruct and educate folks to be able to transact a wholesale real estate deal without a seller appointment in a repeatable way. And that program is found and available at the website www.sendmoreoffers.com. And if that's something that is a goal of yours, is to be able to do deals without having to drive around the city and go to every homeowner's appointment and speak to 20 people a day, at their home. You can be a lot more efficient over the phone and reaching out to these homeowners without having to go on seller appointments. And we'll show you how to do that in a repeatable way. So it's really a business instead of a hustle. And you just go over to sendmoreoffers.com, book a call with my team. I'd love to have a conversation with you and see if your goals align with what our program offers. And I'd love to get you on the phone and work with you.
All right, I put sendmoreoffers.com on the screen while you were talking, so it's right there for everybody to reference. If you want to learn from Brandon, there are a lot of great people doing wholesale work, but I've just taken a real liking to Brandon, mainly because of his heart and also because of his ability. And in my world, you have to have both. You have to have a good heart, a good mind, and a good work ethic. And Brandon's got all of that. He helps a lot of people learn how to do wholesaling, and he can help you. Just go to sendmoreoffers.com. Can I teach you how to wholesale? Yeah, I probably could. And, I do some wholesaling. I still do wholesaling. But I don't put myself out there as an expert on wholesaling. Instead, I talk to experts, and I get a little smarter as I talk to people. And so that's it. Brandon, we keep these calls on Wednesdays pretty short because theoretically this is lunch hour and people need to get back to lunch. And there is a whole lot more that we can unpack about this, but I think we've given people a taste, and there is an opportunity here for people to learn from you. And there's a link and a website. And remember, there's a little bit more information at the Flipping America RIA site. Final word, give us some inspiration, brother.
Yeah, for sure. I really boiled down all the success that I've had to a few key critical things, and that's learning and growing every day, being super consistent with everything that we do, and honestly, sending offers in every situation where we're talking to homeowners. So I think that can help people in different industries and businesses as well. And if you guys want to learn any more, head over to Similar Offers, and where it asks, how did you hear about this program? In the other box, just put Roger Blankenship, and we'll make sure that I talk to Roger and thank him for sending you my way.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Brandon Barnes. We've just covered a few of the basics about wholesaling properties, and I hope that you'll go to sendmoreoffers.com and check it out. Brandon, thank you for joining us today. If you have further questions about real estate or real estate investing, you can always send them at any time to questions@flippingamerica.net. We have a team, and we answer every question that comes in within 24 hours. We've done this for years. Every question that comes in about real estate or real estate investing, we will answer your question. We might even use it on an upcoming edition of the podcast, Flipping America. Brandon, thanks again for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right,
Roger.
everybody. We'll see you all soon.